Hi everyone, it's Miss Dimitri again. Thank you for joining me today. I am happy to be here. Please hold on one moment while I share my screen with you. Okay, so welcome back. Today is week 10, day 2. We will continue to identify the theme in fictional texts. Another review. The theme is what the author wants the reader to learn. To identify the theme, good readers think. What does the author want me to learn from the story? Is there a lesson that I can apply to my own life? What is the story's big idea? What message can I take from the story? And again, here are some examples of themes. Yesterday, we read a poem by Shel Silverstein, and we also looked at some images where the theme was including others and being a good friend. So let's see what we have in store for today. We are going to follow the same procedure today. We're going to start with a warm-up. I can analyze important events to identify the theme of an image. Then we will look at some poetry and we will analyze important events to identify the theme of a poem. And then I will talk about your reading response. All right, so here is our first task. Here is the set of images I would like you to look at. So we are looking at the theme and we're looking at what lesson we can learn from these 3 photos or illustrations, I should say. So yesterday I shared my thinking with you. Today I challenge you to pause the video now and maybe think aloud to yourself or to someone who is at home with you and talk about what you see in each photo. Again, illustration, what you see in each illustration, and you might need to make some inferences based on what you already know. So pause the video and do a think aloud. All right, I'm sure you all made some great observations. Now let's together pull some of that text evidence that we see. So in the first illustration, the 2 girls are talking and pointing at the other girl. So here is where I made an inference. I think that the 2 girls, I think that they are gossiping. Gossiping is when you're talking about someone else behind their back. I made this inference because they're pointing to the girl. And just based on their facial expressions, it sort of looks like they're up to no good. So in the second picture, another girl is watching them gossip. And she looks a little bit concerned. It looks like she's watching what they're doing. In the third picture, the girl confronts the other girls who are gossiping. So confront means that she is kind of calling them out for gossiping and telling them that that's wrong. And the clues I used to make that inference is this girl over here, she still looks kind of shy and maybe like her feelings are hurt. And this girl is clearly standing by her and talking to the 2 girls who were in the first illustration. So that's how I made that inference. So hopefully you all made similar observations. So now that we have pulled out some text evidence, let's think about the theme. What can we learn from these illustrations? What is the lesson? What I came up with is I think that the theme is to stand up to bullying. And that's based on the text evidence because in the third illustration, that girl is clearly standing up for the person who they were gossiping about. And this is a lesson that we can all apply to our lives. If you see bullying or if you hear gossiping, it's always good to stand up and to do the right thing. All right. So we just finished our warm up. We analyzed important events to identify the theme of an image or a set of images. So let's move on to poetry. I am really excited to read this poem with you all today. So this poem is titled Dreams, and it is written by Langston Hughes. So just like we did yesterday, I would like to read the poem 2 different times. The first time you can follow and listen, and the second time I invite you to read with me. So this is Dreams by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Now, one thing I would like to point out to you is a word that you might be unfamiliar with, and that word is barren, a barren field. The word barren describes land that is not good for planting. It's hard for things to grow. All right, so let's go ahead and read it again. This time, I want you to really start to think about what Langston Hughes is trying to express. So let's read together. Dreams by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. So let's think, what is the theme of this poem, or what lesson can we learn? Now, there's a lot of figurative language in this poem, descriptive words. So in the next slide, we're going to really start to analyze it together. But before we do that, let's think about the title Dreams. What kind of dreams do you think Langston Hughes is referring to? What kind of dreams is he talking about here? Do you think he's talking about the dreams you dream when you're asleep? Or do you think he's talking about dreams that you might have, like goals for your future or dreams for the world? I think he's talking about the goals for your life or for your world. Okay, just something to keep in mind. Okay, so again, we're going to pull out some text evidence and then we're going to try to figure out what the theme is. And again, the theme that I get from a poem could be different than how you interpret the poem. But let's do this together. All right, so one part of this poem that I think is important. Langston Hughes says, hold fast to dreams. So I'm trying to think of what that might mean. And I think it basically just means to hold on to your dreams, hold on to them tight, hold on to them tightly. The next phrase that I underlined is, If dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. So right now I'm really visualizing what that looks like in my mind. I'm imagining a bird with broken wings. And if a bird has broken wings, that bird cannot really fly and see the rest of the world, right? So this makes me think that what Langston Hughes is trying to say is that without dreams, your world can feel really small because your life is like a broken winged bird. You can't fly around and see the rest of the world. Okay. And then I underlined in the second stanza or the second paragraph in a poem, I underlined life is a barren field frozen with snow. Now remember, we said that the word barren means hard to grow, land that is not good for growing anything. Okay, so a field where nothing can grow and a field that's frozen with snow. So Langston Hughes is saying that without dreams, life is kind of like that. A barren field frozen with snow. What do you visualize in your head when you hear that phrase? A barren field frozen with snow. Does that sound like a good place to grow things? Does that seem like a good environment that you would want to be in? Probably not. So how I interpreted this this part of the poem is that without dreams, you cannot grow. And I don't necessarily mean that you're a seed and that you cannot grow into a plant, but as humans, we are constantly growing and getting smarter and getting older and getting wiser. So he's saying without dreams, you cannot grow. So now comes the tricky part. What we have to do is we have to use that text evidence to think about the theme. What lesson can we learn from this poem and how can we apply it to our own lives? So take a moment and maybe think aloud again or talk to someone around you about what you learned from this poem. Maybe you need to reread the poem, but try to think about it and then I'll share my thinking. So I think that the theme of this poem is to one, dream big. And two, don't give up on your dreams. Because Langston Hughes, he describes what life is like if you don't hold on to your dreams. So those are the two things that I learned from the poem. Those are, to me, those themes are the big ideas of this poem. To dream big and to not give up on your dreams. I love that poem. Alrighty. I can analyze important events to identify the theme. Check, we did it. Good job. All right. Here is your reading response. What I am asking you to do is to reread Dreams by Langston Hughes. And then what I want you to do is think about the themes and write about dreams that you have for your future. And as always, please use 4 to 5 complete sentences and illustrate. So here are ways you can start your response. My dreams are, so think about it. What do you want to maybe be when you grow up? What dreams do you have for the world around you? What dreams do you have for your family? These are all things you can start to think about. And then the second part says, I can achieve my dreams by. So, what can you do to make the dreams that you have come true? Maybe it's working hard. Maybe it's getting good grades. Maybe it's spreading peace and kindness in the world. Maybe it's picking up trash. Maybe it's, I don't know, it could be a lot of things. So write about it. Now, if you are participating in the daily challenges, here is your next daily challenge. As a reminder, this is optional. You do not have to do this, but it's a great activity if you want another challenge. So use what we practiced today to read The Boy Who Cried Wolf and complete pages 124, 125, and 127 in the packet. So the link to the packet will be in the reading response. And hint that I told you yesterday, another term for theme is the central message. So you all may have heard the story of the boy who cried wolf before. So you might have some previous knowledge. All right. So after you complete that, you will have completed the third learning target, which is I can analyze important events to identify the theme. All right, everyone, that is the end of my presentation today. Don't forget to always dream big and to never ever give up on your dreams. I'll see you tomorrow.